Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So it's the start of February and it's time to start thinking about the jobs that we need to be doing this month to get our gardens into tip-top shape for the coming month and the coming season. So stick with me and I'll show you what jobs that I'm doing this month to get my garden ready for this growing season. So the first thing on the list of my jobs for this month is to get your beds mulched and your beds prepared for the next season. Now what I've done here is I cut down a load of my cover crops and I mulched them over with compost and sheet mulch, and this is going to be where I'm going to be growing a lot of squash and pumpkins this year, and this bed will go on to feed them really well now. And because of the way I've prepped it, I'll need hardly any fertilizers in that bed as well. That brings me on to point number 2. If you do have cover crops in the ground, now's a great time to get them chopped back and cut them all the way back down to the ground. I mean, you can just chop and drop them and they'll just compost down in situ, or you can do what I did on the other bed and sheet mulch it and compost it down underneath a layer of mulch, and they'll all break down and continue to feed the soil for the rest of the season. So where you've got an empty bed and you're not planning on growing for a while, I mean, this is a perfect bed to sow more cover crops in. Now I don't plan on growing anything major into this bed for at least a couple of months. So with this bed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sow another set of cover crops, and I'm going to go for legumes this time. Because the weather's starting to warm up, legumes are going to do really well at this time of year to get this bed prepped for the coming season. So I'm going to go for a heavy sowing of legumes all over this bed. I might go for something like field beans, or I might go for something like alfalfa or even broad beans. Broad beans would be brilliant here because they'll add nitrogen, they'll give you a crop as well, and you can benefit from both things at the same time. Rather than leave a patch of soil uncovered, take advantage of a gap in the growing season or the gap in your growing timetable and build soil fertility. Now, if like me, you grow a lot of autumn fruit and raspberries, now's a great time to cut them back. They've done their growing, they've fruited for last year. Cutting them back now in early spring, late winter is a great time to give them that invigoration and they'll come back really strong next year and they'll produce really well. They'll go on sending out new shoots and they'll produce really well. But once you've cut them back, you can shred these up and they'll go on as a nice mulch for your compost, or you could just leave them in a pile at the side and they'll make a really nice habitat because they break down within about a year, and they'll make a really nice habitat for little bugs and beetles and stuff. So that's what I do. I like to just take these stalks and I just spread them across this side of the privet and they make some really good habitat. But once I've cut these all back, I'm going to mulch this whole bed and then I'll feed these raspberries going on for the next season, and they'll go on and produce me really well. That's all you need to do for autumn fruit and raspberries. Cut them back and give them a mulch in spring, and they go on and they continue to feed you all well. I don't fertilise these, I don't water these, I completely leave them as they are. Cut them back, mulch them, forget about them. So I'm starting to clean up my strawberry bed and I'm pulling out all these decomposed, broken down leaves so I can see what's going on underneath, really, more than anything else. You don't really need to do this, but for me, the reason that I do it is so that I can see what's going on at the soil or at the mulch level, and it helps me find little runners. Because what the strawberry plants will have done is they will have sent out loads and loads of runners over autumn. All of these leaves can go in the compost pile, and these strawberry plants will come back in a really nice way. They'll put on some fresh growth pretty soon, and that'll set them into good stead for the next season growing as well. So while you're doing this cleanup, you'll find some young little runners like this and like this. So now that might not look much now, but that's the beginning of a new strawberry plant. So they send out these little runners all the time, and I've got 3 in my hand without real much effort. So that's 3 new strawberry plants. Just clean them up a little bit, get rid of any of that, and just pot them up. They'll go on to give you strawberries for the next few years. So what I do with these little runners is I just take a runner like that into a pot. Really simple to do. pot that into there, into a little pot of compost. And what I'm going to do with some of these is I'm going to put them in the greenhouse, hoping for an early harvest. So I'm going to make a nice strawberry tower for the greenhouse. That's one of my jobs for the next few weeks. And I'm going to have a strawberry tower in the greenhouse that I can get a real quick harvest from. You know, just see if I can push them before this, because normally with where I am in Leeds, we don't normally start getting strawberries till the end of June, early July. That's when we start getting our main strawberries. If I can get them into some heat, I might be able to get a little harvest a little bit earlier. So if you haven't completed the list of jobs that I mentioned for you to do in January, now's still a good time and it's perfectly fine to do those jobs this month. I mean, I didn't finish cleaning my greenhouse, and I've been using these candles in my greenhouse, and you can see, you know, the fat burning candles that I did. There's a link for the video up here. It's keeping my greenhouse warm, but it's making it quite mucky. They're very sooty, so I'm getting a lot of soot build up on the glass. There you can see. And I need to give that a proper good scrub and allow the maximum amount of light to come into the greenhouse. It's a great thing now to start sowing things like cabbages, to start sowing pak choy, to start sowing quite a few different veg. In a couple of weeks, start sowing tomatoes. I've got a full video of what to sow in February, and the link is up here. It's really good. Go and check it out, and you can see where I was this time last year with my sowings. So yeah, get on with that list of jobs that are added on from February. It's much the same, a lot of preparation. So flowering plants like these mini mums, now is a good time to deadhead them and cut them, give them a little prune and get them into a nice shape that you want to see them growing for this season, and it'll tidy everything up a bit, and they'll come back to life and they'll put on a really good display this year. So get on with that. Cut back things like these lavender stalks, these lavender flowers rather, and get some shears, just cut them back, and they'll go on to produce as well. They'll send out new flowers. Just make sure when you're cutting things back like lavender, don't cut back into the brown, stay in the green growth and the new growth. Otherwise they won't regrow. So I'm going to tidy this bed up as well. We've got quite a lot of spent stalks and stuff. I'm just going to cut them back, and I'm going to just leave them on the bed as a mulch, because there's going to be lots of overwintering bugs and stuff. But I'm just going to cut them back and move them into a place that I can see, so I can do a bit of weeding at the same time, because I've got some couch grass creeping in. I've got some wood avens creeping in, and I want this flower bed to look kind of pretty this year, to add a nice bit of colour. So we'll tidy this bed up. So more bed preparation, more cleaning, and lots of more sowings as well. Now's the time that you can do a lot of sowings, and it'll set you in good stead for the coming season. So that's a nice list of jobs that you can be getting on in February. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for regular updates. We also make videos on Patreon, so if you want to support our channel and help us grow, then I'll leave a link for it at the end of this video somewhere. Do go and consider becoming a Patreon. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.